Hello, good morning. Happy Sunday. Okay, so I needed to come on here this morning because I have a very important announcement, which is that today is the very last day to sign up and join 30 Days to Round. I'm actually doing an orientation just in a few hours. So if you're on the fence, this is your chance. The deadline is coming up. I do really encourage you to join the program. There's a money back guarantee, it's literally no risk. Plus, we're not sure if we're going to do the challenge. So this is kind of like the last time we're going to be doing the challenge in this format. So the link is above or below this video. But what I wanted to do in this quick little live is I wanted to go through some of the slides. Earlier this week, I did a webinar on contact and connection, and there were just so many great takeaways. And I wanted to give you a little bit of a preview inside of that. And the reason that roundness is so important is because roundness really allows you to control your horse's body and mind. So, roundness creates both a physical shift in the sense that we see our horses arch up through their top line and they look round, right? They have an arc there. But more importantly, when your horse is round, then they're focused and they're relaxed and they're rideable. If you've ever felt it, if you've ever felt a horse that's truly round and through and supple, it's the most incredible feeling. It's the feeling like you can do anything. And I know for me, when I first started riding, I wasn't a very talented rider. I fell off a lot and I was scared, I don't think any of us want to end up in the dirt. None of us like feeling out of control on a horse. And so at a very basic level, roundness is what gives you that control. It allows you to manage your horse's energy in a way that you can stay safe. Furthermore, as we move up the levels and we want to do more exciting things, like we want to piaffe and passage and ride transitions, roundness is also what allows for that. So let me just quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through some of the slides that I've been going over this week just to give you a quick little recap. I'm not going to go through it. This is just going to be quick because I got to run to the barn. But contact, connection and roundness are very similar. So roundness creates a flow of energy so that you can ride with harmony and balance. That is really why we want our horses to be round. And what's important to understand about round is that it's physical, right? So physically, we're changing the shape of our horse, that their hind end is scooping down and under in their pelvis, their back is lifting, and then their neck is round. The neck is kind of the last part of roundness. And also mentally, when your horse is round, you can control their energy. I remember the first time I got to ride my trainer's Grand Prix horse and do a little piaffe passage. And it was the most amazing thing because there was so much energy and power in that horse. And yet I was able to control it. So these are a few photos of our students and just showing the before and after transformations, which are just amazing. The truth of the matter is that every horse can learn to get round, and so can you. So every rider can figure this out. No horse and no rider is born, perfectly round. And it's definitely something that for me as a rider, I struggled for a long time, like trying to figure out, how do I get my horse's head to go round? How do I get my horse on the bit? And it was so frustrating. I made so many mistakes. I certainly ended up at times, feeling like my arms were going to fall off because I was putting too much pressure on my horse. So what 30 Days to Round does is it really breaks it down. It breaks it down step by step for you so that you can understand the right way to get your horse round without putting so much pressure. This is Kara. She's a hunter jumper rider, and look at the transformation in her horse. She says, Madeline is now thriving. She's transformed from a nervous, uptight horse to a more relaxed, supple, and balanced horse. And that, I think, is what we all want, right? We want our horses relaxed. We want our horses feeling balanced, because it's so much nicer for us to ride them. So, all right, I see a bunch of people are live. Good morning. Give me a hello in the chat there if you can hear me, if you can see me. If you're just popping on here, 30 Days to Round starts today, but I wanted to give you a quick little recap. Let me know in the chat then. Here's a good question for you. How long have you been trying to get your horse round and on the bit? I feel like it's a lifelong journey. I don't know that you're ever done. I think you're always refining it, right? Like you're always could get your horse rounder. You always could get your horse a little bit softer. But it is so amazing when you feel it, right? Like the first time that you feel your horse soften and that you feel your horse round, it all of a sudden you're just like, oh my gosh, that is it. That is the most amazing feeling. All righty. Hello, Jenny. Hello, Sharon. Hi, Cynthia. Awesome. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, here's another good one for you. So this is my first lease horse. His name was Indy. You can see he's not round at all. He was a stiff thoroughbred. He bucked me off and ran back to the barn the first time that I tried to canter him. And the thing is that when your horse isn't round, right, they are spooky, they're tense, they're distracted, they're tight, they're uncomfortable, just like all these things that are not nice to ride. So, roundness is more than a pretty shape to their neck. Roundness is what creates rideability in your horse. Roundness is what allows you to go forward. It's so it allows you to turn. It's basically what allows you to stay safe. So, regardless of your discipline, whether you're an eventer or a jumper, trail rider, or Western rider, when we have control of our horse's body, we have control of their mind. And it's not a good feeling to be on a horse that's completely stiff and hollow because you know that you don't have control of them and you're not going to be able to stop them and you're not going to be able to turn them. And once you do get that energy, you're not going to be able to control it. So, I love my horses. I love riding, but I think we're all in agreement that it's a lot more enjoyable when you feel safe. And okay, so here's another quick slide, which is that horses naturally carry more weight on their forehand. And then when we sit on top of our horses, we put even more weight on their forehand. So um, we sit closer to the front end, obviously. And then if you look at this skeleton image here, you can also see how right where our weight is, there's not a lot of support for our horse's back. To make it even worse, when we're sitting on their spine, we're basically making them hollow. And then when you trot and you canter, you put even more force on your horse. So that's the bad news. The good news is that when we can get our horses round, it creates an arch in their back. And an arch is the strongest structure in nature. So if we can create an arch in our horse's back, then the good news is that it allows them to carry us more easily. And I see there's a question, can you apply similar techniques with a bitless hackamore or a bitless bridle? Yes, absolutely. I have a photo in here of riding in a hackamore, but absolutely, you can teach your horse to get round in a halter, in a hackamore, in a bitless bridle. You do not have to have a bit in order to create this. What's important about roundness is that round is easier for your horse's body and mind. And it's important that roundness comes from the hind end through the back and to the hand. So if we look at the photo here, roundness is number 1 an engaged hind end, number 2 the back lifting, and number 3 is the neck round. The neck round is kind of like the last part of it. What's really important is that we get that hind end engaged and the back lifted. And this is what I show you inside of 30 Days to Round. So I show you step by step how to get this true back to front roundness, what steps to take. So I see there's a question in the chat. How can I stop my horse from making his neck stiff? So I always recommend starting from the ground. If your horse is super stiff, you want to start by just getting on the ground with them and teaching them to bend their neck left and right. Um, Remember that kicking and pulling on your horse doesn't work. We've all done it. We've all been so frustrated where we kind of just feel like we're trying to force our horses to get round, and it doesn't work. And so that is where 30 days to round comes in. That is where I help you break it down step by step so that you don't end up in a tug of war, so that you don't end up frustrated, so that your horse doesn't end up frustrated. Ideally, the amount of contact you should have should be about the weight of a soda can in your hand when you're riding. And then what's really important is that you should be able to lower your horse's neck. You should be able to bend your horse a little bit left and right. And in 30 days to round, I break it down to you step by step so that we go through here's where to start, here are the steps to take in order to get your horse round. Groundwork is such a huge thing. And this is a piece that so many people are missing. You don't even need to spend that much time on the ground, but just doing 5 minutes of groundwork, teaching your horse to bend, teaching your horse to yield in their body and to move their hindquarters from the ground. It saves you so much time in the saddle. I cannot stress this enough. And we've already had so many people signing up for 30 days to round, and they're already like doing the groundwork and seeing the differences in their horses, which is just wonderful. So, there was one other slide here. Oh, this slide. This is a good one, which is just super inspiring. So Yvonne Barteau, the best connection starts from nothing but an independent, relaxed seat and the quiet, neutral absence of the aids. Let me know in the chat if you like that, if you feel like that's a good quote for you. But when our horse is round and through, we're able to really ride from our seat and we don't have to do so much. I mean, it's this idea of self carriage and balance where your heels can be down, your hands are together and quiet, and basically you're just thinking and your horse is doing it. It's the most amazing feeling when you get true self carriage and true throughness, but it takes a long time to get there. Okay, so I talk a lot about bending. Bending, you guys, so many people miss bending their horses. If your horse doesn't bend left and right, you cannot get your horse round. I can't stress that enough. It's super, super important to understand that. And then, yes, so here's a photo of me riding Geronimo in a Boselle. And you can see, look how round and soft he is. No bit in his mouth, which I just think that is always so cool to see that you can get your horse supple and soft without having a bit in their mouth. Okay, let me see some other questions. So Meredith says, I have trouble getting my horse round. He doesn't hold it at the trot and the canter. Yeah, so probably you're missing one of those steps. And my guess is work on the bending and inside leg to outside rein connection. Okay, Dr. B says, I have a 5-year-old Polish cold blood who I work daily from the ground. Is this too much for a horse that is not yet mature? So no, this program is great for young horses because what you're going to learn in 30 days to round is how to teach all of this from the ground first. And I like to teach roundness from the ground first because then you're not sitting on your horse's skeleton, right? You're not sitting on their back and like causing their back to arch. So absolutely, I would definitely recommend 30 days to round would be great for a young horse. Hannah says my horse keeps yanking his neck forward and back against the contact. That doesn't sound good. So Hannah, I would work on bending, start from the ground, teach your horse to bend their neck side to side, and then make sure that you want to soften your hand when your horse is softening. So if your horse jerks the reins, you don't want to give at that moment. You want to keep the connection at that moment. Okay, so a couple of other things. Oh, these are just some of our transformation photos of our students, which is so cool to see the difference what 30 days round can do for your horse and for you. It works for all riders, it works for all levels, and it's amazing that you can change your horse that much in a short period of time. Now, of course, roundness is a process and we're all working on it. But when you join 30 Days to Round, you're going to see such a big difference in your horse. What 30 Days to Round gives you is it gives you accountability, it gives you support, it gives you community. This is one of our winners from 30 Days to Round last year. This is Magdalena and Marzi. Marzi is a sensitive little green pony. He barely understood how to go around the arena. And then at the end of the challenge, she says, "We came so much further than I ever thought would be possible." Marzi's a sensitive horse. He gets stressed easily if he doesn't understand what I'm asking. Amelia included all the steps so I could explain clearly what I wanted. Being able to explain my aids to him so well with the different exercises, including the groundwork, I was able to avoid stress. I saw him blossom into a confident little pony. Inside of 30 Days to Round, you get over 40 pre-recorded exercises and you have lifetime access to the content. So even if right now maybe isn't the best time for you or you're worried that you can't get through it all in 30 Days to Round, don't worry. I would definitely recommend signing up anyways. This program is a booster, right? Like it's a booster to get you that motivation, and so that you can really take that on into your riding. Here's another one of our students, Alm. She says, just 2 groundwork lessons, already 10,000 times improvement. One thing that's new this year, which I'm super excited about, is I'm going to be doing live boot camp style trainings every single week. So I'm going to be doing training theory, rider position, rhythm and counting, bend, transitions. So those are going to be very fun and exciting for everyone. Here's another student, Aileen. She is riding her Frisian saddlebred. Let me know in the chat what breed your horse is, because this program, it really does work for all breeds, all ages. Aileen is a rider who's older and, rode as a kid and then took a long break for her kids and her career. And she says, with 30 Days to Round, I'm learning the theory and I have a better understanding of what to do. I really had no idea before that. My trainer could get my horse to do things, but I couldn't do it by myself. Another benefit to 30 Days to Round is everyone's horse is a little different, right? Your horse might be hot or lazy or young or stiff or curl. So what I've done is I've gone through and I've created lesson plans with my recommended exercises for each type of your horse. So it is not a one size fits all program. These lesson plans are going to save you time and help you to ride with a plan. Other things about the program, so there's a journal, there's a workbook, there's a mobile app. You get lifetime access. I'm doing live Q&A in the Facebook group. And these 2 photos here are one of our students, Shelly, just 2 weeks apart. Look at that difference in her horse. And she says, this challenge is seriously some of the best money I've ever spent on horse training. Glad we have lifetime access to these videos. So, ask yourself, what is it worth to save you time and struggle with your horse? Education is so important because it's going to boost your progress, right? It's going to maximize the amount of progress that you can make with your horse in a short period of time. Meredith is asking in the chat, I have a 16-year-old quarter horse. Is he too old? No, definitely not. I have a special in here in these lesson plans. So I have a special lesson plan for horses that are old and wise, we will call them. We love our older superstars. They're such wonderful horses. So bottom line is that 30 Days to Round starts today. I'm going to be doing an orientation call in just a couple of hours. And we're starting a movement. So we are starting a movement of round riders. Let me know in the chat if you want to become a round rider, because that feeling of roundness, when your horse is round, when your horse is through, when your horse is supple, it's such an amazing feeling. It makes your horse easier to ride. It makes your horse more fun to ride. It makes your horse happier and healthier and sounder and better in their body. So that's why I'm so passionate about this program. I love 30 Days to Round. It's a curriculum that took me a long time to figure out, a lot of struggle and effort, and working with young horses and green horses, and retraining older horses that had learned to get stiff or heavy in the contact. And I also love the program so much because of you, because of the students, and because of the difference that it makes in your horses. So, like I said, today is the last day to sign up. We're giving away $10,000 to the top 5 transformations this year. So that's going to be super exciting. And yeah, I would say just give it a try. If it's not for you, then you can always just shoot us an email and we'll give you a refund, because I don't want you to be unhappy. I want you to really enjoy the program, and I want it to work for you and your horse. And I know when you kind of get brave and sign up and take that leap of faith, it will happen for you. So I'll put the link in the chat if you are interested in signing up. Like I said, today at midnight is the last day to sign up. Um, and let me see, there's a few other questions in the chat. Hannah says, I want to train my horse show jumping, but he's always already 12. Is that too old? So no, what's amazing about horses is that you can change them. Like an old horse can learn new tricks, but training horses does require consistency, and introducing things slowly so that they understand. Like with roundness, you start on the ground, you teach your horse to bend. With introducing jumping, you start with pulls on the ground, then very low jumps, and then you work your way up. So that is how we train our horses, and it's amazing how much they can progress and how much they can learn. So all right, I'm going to run to the barn so I can be back here for orientation in a couple of hours. I know some of you have already joined 30 Days to Round, but if you haven't yet, click that link, join, so that I can get you into orientation.